Добре. Ну що ж, почнемо.
Well, let's start.
Доброе утро, дорогие друзья. В наше непростое время ваше присутствие здесь, в Киеве, в других регионах Украины, а особенно в Крыму, является исключительно важным. Только вместе мы сможем сохранить мир в наших странах, стабільність і безпечність в Європі. Шановні друзі, шановні журналісти, дякую за вашу працю і вашу відвагу. Ми вибороли свободу, але тепер наше головне завдання – зберегти державу. Агресія в Криму
Reserve is to preserve our country. Aggression in the Crimea is not just the aggression against Ukraine. This is the danger to the entire world. If the world and the guarantors are not able to help Ukraine, then who will feel themselves safe? I want to express our support to our soldiers and other officers and citizens of the Autonomous Republic of Crimea. Their staunch courage deserves our admiration. Otherwise, the peninsula will be ruined in the way Abkhazia or Transnistria have been ruined. The main task of today's Ukrainian authority is to provide for the management of the country. So far, we see the lack of professionalism, and new appointments in the government cause disappointment in the society. We have to have the government of national unity, not the one-party government. We have to see in our government representatives of all regions, and the government has to report about the results of the investigation of killings in Maidan. It is surprising that until today, not a single criminal who killed our heroes are not arrested and judged. The government has to immediately start the systemic reforms. Only deals, not words, will transform Ukraine into the country where we want to live and where separatists will be ousted from any Ukrainian city. We support the signing of the political association with the EU, and the government has to concentrate their efforts on the association agreement, and the European Union has to be open both for Ukraine and Russian Federation. I understand all the complexes of the Russian president. It is for the second time that his geopolitical plans have been broken by Ukraine. We have two texts. First, with the Ukrainian coup and international sanctions to stop the Russian aggression. Second, to provide the Russian people with European perspective and guarantees of safety. We distinguish between the policy of Kremlin and the Russian people with their national interests. I call upon the United States, the European Union, and the entire world to block economic relations with this country, to refuse to buy Russian oil and gas, and to block the accounts of this country and its leaders. I call upon the UN to convene the extraordinary meeting of the Security Council and consider the issue of international sanctions. Russians are European people. They have the right to European future, not to be hostages of ambitions of their leadership. Please, questions. 112 Ukraine television, Dmytro. Yesterday we had an information that you will run for the presidency. Is this true? Yes, we receive quite a lot of telephone calls and letters and demands from Ukrainians so that the right sector is represented in our politics, and respectively that we nominate our candidate for the presidency. Yes, and the political council of the right sector has adopted a corresponding decision. Yes, I'm running for the presidency.
You would. Is it okay now?
Одну секунду, навушники, видимо.
Just a second, I'll put on the headset.
Okay. Andreas Weiser from ZDF German television. You were talking about the fact that nobody who killed people on Maidan has been accused or even captured for the moment. But you are part of the council that is just doing all the that will just look for those people. What are you doing now? It said that you started doing it now, and you are also looking for your own people because there are also policemen that were killed.
The right sector is holding a staunch position in every issue, including the search for criminals. So we are helping law enforcement bodies in this case, but do understand us. We do not have such operative capabilities as the law enforcers, so we are open for cooperation with the security service, with the Ministry of Interior, with the Procurator General's offices. We are in consultations, and we will help them in every way, because this cannot go unpunished. But in my opinion, in the first turn, we should not think about those who were shooting at people, but those who did give such commands. We already passed some information about them to our official bodies, and we hope that result will come soon.
My Daily Beast. So why do your men continue to wear uniforms and flak jackets in Maidan? There is no violent threat at the moment. Kiev seems quite peaceful. A second question is, a few weeks ago you seemed to be opposed to the idea of European integration. Are you switching positions now?
About the uniform, Ukraine is in the state of war, practically in the state of war with the Russian Federation, and it was not us who started this war. We have not come to any land of Russia, and we are not imposing our will on them. What their values are, the aggressor came to us, and there is still a high probability of the continuation and increasing of this occupation and their aggressive actions. That's why today, throughout Ukraine, there's mobilization of the structures of the right sector and our nationwide mobilization. Thousands of volunteers go to military commissariats and to our organization in order to be able to defend the state sovereignty and territorial integrity of Ukraine. This is a constitutional duty not only of the armed forces but of any citizen of Ukraine. So now to speak about pacification, about disarmament is too early. If the Russians go away from the Crimea, it is understood that we are for peace and stability in Ukraine, then this issue will be taken off the agenda. If the European integration is concerned, previously and now we are in favor of signing the association agreement with EU. This is our principal stand, because we understand that association will put a certain border on the way of the aggressive plans of the Kremlin. We have our own position about the membership in the EU. We think that Ukraine first has to become a powerful state, a subject, not an object of geopolitics, and then we can talk about the membership in the EU. As Hajam's International Business Times
program or an agenda for your candidacy as a president, and I specifically would like to know what would you offer for minorities in the Ukraine, considering Ukraine is a multi-ethnic country. Thank you.
Again, we have more than once expressed our position on this issue. We have a very clear-cut attitude. We have three categories of non-Ukrainians. First, we treat as our brothers those non-Ukrainians who, together with us, are struggling for freedom, justice, and well-being of Ukraine. It does not matter for us whether they are Russians, Jews, or whoever. We have many people in our structures of different ethnicity, and we treat them as brothers. Second category, those non-Ukrainians who tolerate us and do not interfere with us, and we have similarly tolerant attitude towards them. The third category is those who try to oppose our drive for freedom. Of course, we are waging a fight against them, but this principle acts in any country of the world. We are against xenophobia, we're against anti-Semitism, and our actions of those who were struggling for are the best proof of this. Dear Mr. Dmytro, you are waging an uncompromising policy. Victoria Polovinka, the Podillia TV channel, what are your compromises could be? The compromises in politics are a normal way. For 25 years I've been avoiding public politics, and now I have to assume some responsibility, and I'm not quite used to it. I admit this. However, it is very important for us to always stick to the principles that led us to Maidan, and no compromises here are possible. Freedom, fight against corruption, full reloading of authorities, the cleaning of the law enforcement bodies. We cannot retreat in this, otherwise the blood of those people who shed their blood in the fight for our freedom would be in vain. Bloomberg, Volodymyr Verbany, about the potential signing of the association. As far as I know, the right sector did not support it. No, we have always supported the association. Will the right sector nominate their candidate for the mayor of Kyiv? If not, then why? We think that at present there are several good worthy candidates for the mayor of Kyiv from Maidan, and so the right sector do not consider a possibility to nominate our own candidate for the mayor of Kyiv, but we think about the representatives of right sector among the city councillors. It would be very good if Les Orobets and Igor Lutsenko and other Maidan candidates agree a single candidate and go as a single team to the Kyiv City Council. However, whom you would like to see as a mayor of Kyiv, I think it's their question and issue.
Mir TV company, the investigatory committee of Russia is stated that you will be the international investigative bodies are looking for you. Putin is behaving non-consistently. He has very strange methods of fighting Ukrainian people and fighting the right sector. I believe that the international search that is to be done to Vladimir Putin, because he's the criminal. He is committing the crime against Ukraine. France Press Agency, what are your plans as to Crimea? Are you planning to send your warriors there? And if so, then in what situation, on what terms? And then please explain. There was in Vkontakte your address to Komarov. Did you write that, yes, we coordinate our actions with the Security and Defense Council of Ukraine, and all the members of our organization are in the places of the dislocation, including the mobilization reserve, and we will execute the decision of the Security and Defense Council if there is a decision. The second, Umarov, our press service has already stated that the account was broken and this information was placed there. We are for having in Russia those people who are enslaved by Crimea, by the Kremlin, so that they are fighting for the independence, but at the same time we say that don't touch women and children, whatever war is going on. По-ukrainsky newspaper, around your personality, there are many rumors. Who is Dmytro Yarosh, the leader of the old Ukrainian organization named after Bandera, the founder of the People's Movement of Ukraine, the member of the Ukrainian Helsinki Union, now the leader of the right sector. I'm married, I have 3 children. We are expecting the grandson. I'm just a common person. Thank you. Could you please tell what is your objective? Why are you running for the presidency? I want to change the country. I know it will be difficult for me to compete with the political sharks, but at the same time, I believe that the revolution gives an opportunity to change political elites, to bring young people to politics, and that is the main task, to show the new quality of Ukrainian policy that is based not on money, not on monetary flows, but the real politics, the real Ukrainian politics.
Tagesspiegel Немеччины. У меня вопрос, как вы будете...
The Tagesspiegel from Germany, how will you differ from Svoboda party? I believe that there is a big difference between us and Svoboda party. I respect all the political forces which are there, and I don't want to criticize other political forces because our struggle is for Ukraine, for its freedom, for its independence, and other people, other political associations go their own way. We have identified our own way. Sergei Shevchuk, Comments UA, the criminal case was filed against you because you were calling for a fight with Chechen people. What's your attitude to that? I've already mentioned, I believe the criminal cases will not affect the struggle of Ukrainian patriots for our state. Do you speak Russian? Can you speak Russian? But I started in Russian. I started speaking in Russian. I'm from Dnipro, and that's a Russian-speaking town. I graduated from Russian-speaking school in the Soviet Union. I can speak Russian, but I think Ukrainian, and it's easier for me.
Are you increasing, and where your money is coming from?
Таке питання: скільки вас і хто вас фінансує?
And there are thousands of us, and with every day there are more and more of us, because during this mobilization period, dozens of people volunteering to be enrolled. Also, all over Ukraine, we get many applications, by the way, from Crimea, Kerch, Simferopol, Feodosia, Yevpatoria. And we are gathering these people not to be aggressors, but we are doing it to defend Ukraine and Ukrainian people from the outside enemy. And the second part of your question, who's financing you? Financing, many journalists could see, especially in the trade unions house, as how the private sector, the right sector is financed. We receive money from people, from entrepreneurs, from Transcarpathia. People bring money, and some old lady gave 20 hryvnias to the right sector to support us, and we have enough resources for conducting our struggle. We don't want to depend on oligarchs, on some big entrepreneurs. And the more and more people who join us are businessmen, small businesses, medium-sized businesses, and we hope that mostly the middle class will support us, because the main support is from the middle class, from small and medium-sized business. Please comment on how many guards you have. You're the first guest with so many bodyguards here. Again, that's something that I'm not used to. I'm trying to say I don't need it, but our security service receives the information about certain threats which come from Russia. There was information that from Russia, the liquidation group left. There are 8 persons there who are specially trained, and our security service believes that I need so many bodyguards. I believe that in the future I will be without any bodyguards at all. Please tell, in the east, in Donetsk, there are many people who support Ukraine, but they were in the integrity of Ukraine, but they were so infuriated by this law on the languages. If people want to be in Ukraine, why, if the new government wants Ukraine to be integral, why don't they pass the law on making Russian the second state language? I believe that the language policy should be balanced. We are for Ukrainian language to be the only state language, because all these processes of Russification, which lasted in the times of the Soviet Union, they did a lot for Russification of Ukraine. Quite recently, Mr. Taruta, the governor of Donetsk Oblast, said quite correctly that in Donbass, we don't need to protect Russian language. You need to protect Ukrainian language there. And we are for people being able to speak any language they want. And in the right sector, about 40% of people are Russian-speaking people, and there are no misunderstandings between people who speak Ukrainian or Russian in the right sector, and there will be no problems with that. This should be the natural process. This should be the state policy. And we are ready to do it so that all Russian-speaking, Romanian-speaking, Hungarian-speaking citizens of Ukraine feel comfortable in our country. Liberation newspaper, the right sector is not a political party, is it just an organization? It's the first question. What are the organizations of right radical organizations in Europe are you contacting? The right sector was set up as the platform for revolutionary young people, but very quickly we have become the national force. In the right sector, we have different structures which will be united recently into a political party. We have Ukrainian Nationalist Assembly, which is the political party, and it's part of the right sector, and we'll work on making them the basis for the party of the right sector. For us, it's very important that the right sector doesn't become just a political party. We're looking at the possibility to register the NGO, the private sector, because we know that when the parties start, they are very intelligent, very good, but then they change, and there should be plenty of controlling functions in our political party. Are you the private sector is a young structure. The question was, are you contacting with other countries? We are in contact with some organizations in Poland and other countries, and I don't have time for that now, but when there is peace and stability in Ukraine, then we will be establishing contacts with the rightist structures of Europe, not just Europe. I do not understand when the journalists, and not just journalists, are saying about radicals, extremists. I believe that the right sector is one of the most moderate structures. We started attacking only because we had to exercise the right of people for uprising, because otherwise there would be no Maidan at all. No, New Zealand.
The political and social short and long-term goals of private sector.
Зрозумів. Головна наша
Our main aim is the statehood of our nation, of our people, the building of such a state where freedom, justice, and well-being will be in force. At the moment, we have to reload our authorities to move the center of adopting decisions from Kiev to communities, because the state pyramid should be built not from above to the low ground, but vice versa. Then it will be stable and powerful. I just wanted to make more precise. Do you want to make the Ukrainian National Assembly the basis of our party? This is just one of the options. No. They won't have more votes. This will be a qualitatively new party of with a different program, with different statute. Now we are in the process of consultations about our program. Don't you think that the Ukrainian National Assembly is being treated as a sort of a fascist organization? I think that those are myths that are being spread by certain Russian propaganda structures. We've been shoulder to shoulder through all the battles here in Kiev and other regions. I haven't seen any fascism or Nazism in our brothers from the Ukrainian National Assembly. Those are adequate people who are able of defending their motherland, and I'm sure that they will make their contribution into the building of the Ukrainian state. So, Mr. Yarosh, Vice President of the Assembly of the Business Circles, Diduch, and also the Counselor for Right Forces in Chernivtsi region. Are you in cooperation with public organizations of small and medium-sized business? And do you cooperate with Ukrainian diaspora? You know that there are 20 million Ukrainians abroad. I have said already that one of the principles of our activity are medium-sized and small business. We have contacts with all the regions and also with public structures. We're talking to those people about the Ukrainian diaspora. We have very good contacts with them. My friend Mikhailo Ratushny, who heads the International Ukrainian Coordination Council, we are in contact with them, and we're very grateful to Ukrainians in diaspora for their support, including financial support. To be honest, I thought that after 2004-2005, Ukrainians abroad were so disappointed that they would not help us, but it happened other way. And also many people from abroad came here and joined our right sector forces and took part in battles here. Coming back to the issue of your presidential nomination, whom do you see as your main competitors? And if you get defeated, whether the right sector will be ready to fight for re-election? We are for peace and calm and stability in our nation. There is a time for revolutions. There is the time for state building. We do not adhere to radical actions during peaceful times. We are ready to compete with any nation-oriented forces, and it is too early to talk about competitors because they are not officially registered yet. We heard that Vitaly Klitschko will be nominated, and we have normal relations with him. We're in communication. We coordinated our actions. We also heard about Yulia Tymoshenko. That's their right, and we are ready to compete, but not with radical ways. We are ready to compete with our programs and our outlook and different approaches to state building. Elvira Knut, Press Europa. During the last press conference, you promised me not to surrender the Crimea. No, we won't. Thank you. If you are running for the presidency, do you have a program and some major points? Well, as we speak, the program is being finalized, and I will necessarily hold a press conference where I will declare all the points, but I repeat that the main thing for us is the reloading of power, the reforming of the Ministry of Interior as one of the most criminal and corrupted structures, the reinforcement of the armed forces of the Ukraine, because we have seen that they've been ruined over the last years, and we have to renew them, because whatever guarantees from the Western countries are, we understand that we have to lean upon Ukrainian forces. When we've overcome corruption in Ukraine, then Ukrainians will have a chance to live in other system of coordinates. We're also looking into the option, and our lawyers are developing the draft law on having arms in Ukraine, and the Swiss option, when the armed people are the best guarantors of the state sovereignty and territorial integrity, is closest to us. This is what we will be doing even before the presidential elections, probably. Morris Gatman, Tagesspiegel. There are MPs from the Party of Regions who say that they fear for their lives, and they quote the right sector as the danger. Can you guarantee to security to those people so that they join the Verkhovna Rada? Well, the right sector has not beaten up any MP who is going to the parliament. It is good that they come here and vote for Ukrainian laws. Of course, we cannot protect everybody, but we have repeatedly said that we're against witch hunt, and if the people who were criminals are criminals get punished, we are in favor of this, but we won't lynch anybody. France Press, what are you going to do not to surrender the Crimea? Because today Ukraine has practically no control over the peninsula, and what's your attitude towards the strategy of the government? Do you think it's right what they are doing? I think that the government is conducting a right policy now, but it is not sufficient. We have to launch humanitarian operations in Kiev when Ukrainian singers and Ukrainian stars and famous people go there, and first of all support Ukrainians and Crimean Tatars and Russians who are in favor of the territorial integrity of the Crimea. It is very important. However, along with this, we are conducting our mobilization in order not to let Russians to remain there, and there is a psychological pressure upon the Russian Federation at the expense of our mobilization. We understand this. Of course, there is an option that they do not withdraw their troops and they hold this fake referendum. But if the world does not recognize its results, and if the world still pressurizes Russia, we still have a chance to solve the issue with diplomatic means.
Kyodo News. I'd like to ask your opinion. The entire world has seen the huge enthusiastic protest against Yanukovych in Maidan. But compared with that, the protest against Russian aggression is, I think, it's very low-key. Could you explain, could you tell me what is the reason of the gap? Thank you.
We think that in this case, we should not provoke certain things. As you know, Ukraine has been infiltrated by a lot of extremists from Russia, and we are watching the formation of the fake self-defense units in Transnistria, for instance, who want to provoke Ukrainians for internal juxtaposition, but the action, for instance, of putting on Ukrainian flags will give us more than any mass actions. Ukrainians are united, and our citizens in the Crimea, who mostly live in Crimea, are mostly in favor of Ukraine, and it's good. Thank you very much.